Are you happy with your life? Is it what you want? Is it what you thought it would be? Many INFJs struggle with these questions. We have big dreams for ourselves. We have high expectations and often struggle under the weight of them. This time of year, when I'm reflecting on the past year and thinking about what I want to accomplish this next year, is when I feel it the most. Not only is it Christmas and New Year's, but my birthday is right before Christmas, and that always puts me in a reflective mood. Is this all there is? Is what you have what you want? If not, how can you get what you want? How can you live a life of meaning and authenticity? We'll talk about that and much more on this episode of The Quiet Ones. I believe the biggest problem in the world is that people don't understand themselves enough. This show is designed to help you understand your INFJ personality, heal from your past, and create a life that you love. I'm Sarah Kuhn, and this is the Quiet Ones podcast. How can you live the life you want with meaning and authenticity? Well, let's break it down a little bit. Let's start with the life you want. What do you want? Do you know? Have you thought about it in detail? Most people will say that they want money. That's the first go-to, right? But why? Money can bring stability to your life. It can help you pay the bills and provide for your family. Obviously, it's something important that you need in your life, but can it bring you meaning? What else do you want in your life? What are you missing? What do you not have that you thought that you would have? I thought I would have my own home by now. I live in an apartment, a nice apartment, but it's not mine. When my lease is up in August, I'll have to move again. I've moved more times in my life than I can count. I actually have a book that has pictures of every apartment and or house that I've ever lived in, just because I wanted to remember all of them. There's a subdivision that I recently stumbled upon that's not very far from where I live. The houses are gorgeous. They are completely idyllic with wraparound porches and white picket fences. They kind of remind me of the houses from Desperate Housewives. I like to take my niece's dog, Goose, for a walk through the neighborhood. In fact, I took him for a walk through that neighborhood today. I would love to have one of those houses. And walking through that neighborhood is the motivation that I need for me to work harder so that I can afford one. But at the end of the day, it's just a house. It's not meaning. It's not going to make me feel fulfilled in the long run. I know this because I hung my hopes on getting a nice apartment, and that didn't work. Before that, I hung my hopes on moving out of my parents' house and getting my own apartment, and that also didn't work. Let's back up a little bit more. Let's talk about what meaning is and why we're looking for it so much. Why do we need it? In a previous episode of The Quiet Ones, episode 133, we talked about having difficult goals. Why should you bother with looking for meaning, with doing something extremely difficult? You should bother because it's worth it, because the opposite of meaning is suffering. The opposite is feeling lost, feeling that your life is hopeless and miserable. And what's the point of suffering? Especially if you are the cause of your own suffering. There's really no point at all. Life is way too short to be the cause of your own suffering, to know that your life is miserable and it's completely your fault. There are many areas in my life where I feel like I'm suffering, where I'm completely miserable, and I know for sure that it's my fault. Those are some of the things that are on my list of New Year's resolutions this year, things that I want to fix, things that I'm so tired of thinking about and making plans for and just not doing. I can't bear the thought of being my own form of suffering, of being the cause of my own suffering, and I can't do it for another year. For me, the most meaning comes from helping others. There's research that says that helping others by something as simple as volunteering just once a month can help you lower depression and give you a sense of meaning in your life. Just spending a little bit of time giving back can improve your life tenfold. Whether you choose to pursue meaning through setting a big goal for yourself, like we talked about in episode 133, or by volunteering your time to help the poor or something else entirely, it's up to you. As long as what you're doing brings you that sense of meaning that you need, and you're making it a priority in your life. The other thing we need to talk about is authenticity. For me, authenticity is difficult. I view authenticity as something similar to comfort. Being authentic should feel familiar and comfortable. But I like to pursue meaning with difficult goals, and those make me feel uncomfortable. So how do you square the two? How do you push yourself to be better than you were before, but also stay true to who you are? I don't really know that I have a good answer for that one. It's something that I struggle with a lot. It often feels like 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. But I try to acknowledge that, and I keep trying, and that's enough for me. Living the life that I want for me really boils down to just one thing: freedom. That's what I want more than anything. I want the freedom to get out of bed when I want to, or to sleep if I feel like it. I want to make my own rules about the work that I do. I don't want to have to follow someone else's rules. I want to live where I want to and go on vacation when I want to and help the people that I want to help. That freedom comes from having my own business. I've never known the same type of freedom as this. It's almost like the same type of freedom as when you move out of your parents' house. You no longer have to submit to anybody else's rules. You get to make up your own rules. If you want to have pizza for dinner every single night, that's exactly what you can do. And here's the other thing. I've never been as successful in any job as I have been in my own business. And I'll give you a really good example of that. Instagram. I've been working in digital marketing for about 10 years now. I've worked for several different companies in different markets, from nonprofit to entertainment to real estate to engineering. And now I work with an engineering company that's business to business. While the businesses have been different, they've all had something in common. They all have arbitrary rules when it comes to social media. There's generally somebody who's about 127 years old who doesn't use social media, who makes ridiculous rules about what you can and can't be posted on the business's Instagram. Some businesses wouldn't even allow us to have an Instagram account. For those that would, they would have silly rules like you can't post photos of employees, or you can't post outside of business hours, or you can't make videos, or you can't talk about your customers, or you can't post photos of the products that you sell. What business doesn't let you post photos of the products that you're trying to sell? That doesn't make any sense at all. But in order to keep your job, you have to abide by all of their silly rules. And then they would wonder why our Instagram accounts had 0 followers on them. When I started my Instagram account for my own business, INFJ Woman, I started it in December of 2018. I felt an immense amount of freedom. This was the first account that was 100% mine. There was no one telling me what I could and couldn't do. I could do whatever I wanted to do and whenever I wanted to do it. Within the first 6 months, I had over 5,000 followers. There were some months where I gained 2,000 followers a week. I was shocked when I saw 10,000 followers, and even more when I saw 25,000 followers. Now I have almost 75,000 followers, which is still really difficult for me to believe. I didn't use the same strategy throughout the whole 4 years that I've had this account. I change it quite frequently. There were times when I posted 5 times a day, every single day of the week. There were also times when I posted less than 5 times per week. Sometimes graphics work better, sometimes videos work better, sometimes Instagram rolls out something new and you have to change everything to implement their newfangled toy. But my point is, I could do whatever I wanted. If something wasn't working, there was nobody telling me that I could or couldn't change it. I simply changed it. I want that same kind of freedom in every area of my life. I want to talk about what I want to talk about and when I want to talk about it. I want to work when I want to work and not work when I don't want to work. I want to buy the house that I want to and buy the car that I want to buy. But mostly, I want to help people in this process. I want you to be just as successful, if not way more successful than I am. One of my resolutions this year is to spend more time helping others. A lot of people ask me about writing and about podcasting and a lot about Instagram, especially how to grow followers on Instagram. Instagram is giving me another one of their newfangled toys, which is called subscriptions. I'm just learning how to implement this new toy into my business, and so I thought a great way to use it would be to talk about the process behind running your own business. So if you're interested in a behind-the-scenes look at how I run my blog and my podcast and mostly my Instagram account, you can go over to my Instagram page, which is @INFJWoman, and click on the button that says subscribe. I want to help you live the life that you want to live with meaning and authenticity. So if you're looking to build your own business this year, you're definitely in the right place. I have so many resources for you. Another resource that I want to talk to you about really quick is completely free. I am putting together a free 5-day bootcamp where I'm going to talk to you all about building your own blog. Many INFJs end up wanting to write for a living or wishing they could. I know that I did. But I never thought that I could make a living from writing. I started my blog in 2018 because I wanted to get some practice writing. I had no idea it would become the thing that consumed my thoughts, plans, ideas, hopes, and dreams for the next 4 years and then some. A lot of people ask me about the process of writing, and even more people have told me that it's in their New Year's resolutions, that like me, they're starting a blog now or are planning to in January. So I decided to put together a free 5-day bootcamp to talk about what I went through with starting my blog 4 years ago, and to share all the good, the bad, and the ugly, and help you plan what you should be doing without making all the mistakes that I did. You can join by going to infjwoman.com/challenge. It's called Write for Your Life, and all the fun starts January 9th. All right, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again next week.